So we just ask everyone to keep their cameras off and stay muted during the presentation unless otherwise directed. But I want to thank you all for joining us at NAMI Dane County this afternoon for our virtual workshop series. My name is Quinn Giles, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Programs and Education Manager here with NAMI Dane County. Just a quick reminder, all of our public programming is free to the community and it is generously sponsored by donations from participants such as you and our broader community. So today we welcome back the Edgewood nursing students from our summer class to join us for a conversation about well-being and self-care. And with that said, I am going to pass the mic off to the Edgewood nurses.
Hey, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Quinn, for the introduction. Like she said, today we'll be discussing the importance of well-being and self-care in supporting mental health. Mental health affects how we think, feel, and cope with everyday challenges, and taking care of ourselves is an essential part of maintaining overall wellness. Throughout this presentation, we'll explore what self-care really means, how physical activity can improve mental health, ways to build a self-care routine, and practical strategies that can help us achieve healthier habits and improve our quality of life. So let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about the role of self-care in improving mental health. Self-care is often discussed, but many people are unsure of what it actually means. Self-care is the intentional practice of taking regular actions to protect our well-being, maintain happiness, and support our overall health. It isn't a single activity or something we do only when we're overwhelmed. Instead, self-care is an ongoing process that becomes part of our daily lives. It's also important to understand what self-care isn't. Self-care isn't being selfish, avoiding responsibilities, or spending money on luxuries. While activities like getting a massage or taking a vacation can feel good, self-care is really about consistently meeting our physical, emotional, social, and mental needs. Sometimes self-care means doing things that require effort, such as setting boundaries or going to bed earlier, attending therapy appointments, or asking for help when we need it. Self-care plays a significant role in managing anxiety, stress, and depression. When we experience chronic stress, our bodies produce higher levels of cortisol, which can negatively affect both our physical and emotional health. Practicing self-care can help lower cortisol levels, reduce feelings of tension, and improve our ability to cope with life's challenges. Engaging in regular self-care can also help build emotional resilience, which allows us to recover more effectively from stressful situations. It can improve mood, increase energy levels, enhance concentration, and strengthen our relationships with others. For individuals experiencing symptoms of anxiety or depression, self-care practices can complement professional treatment and support long-term mental wellness. There are many practical ways to incorporate self-care into our daily routines. One of the most important strategies is prioritizing sleep, since adequate rest is essential for emotional regulation and cognitive functioning. Regular movement, such as walking, stretching, dancing, or participating in structured exercise, can also improve mood by releasing endorphins and reducing stress. Maintaining social connections is another valuable form of self-care. Spending time with supportive friends, family members, or community groups can decrease feelings of loneliness and provide emotional support. Nutrition and hydration can also impact mental health. Eating balanced meals and drinking enough water throughout the day can help maintain energy levels and also support your brain's function. Relaxation activities such as deep breathing exercises, meditation, journaling, listening to music, or engaging in hobbies can help calm the mind and reduce stress. Finally, practicing positivity and gratitude can shift our focus towards things that bring meaning and joy to our lives. Even taking a few moments each day to reflect on something we're thankful for can have a positive effect on mental well-being. Ultimately, self-care is not about perfection. It's about making small, intentional choices each day that support our mental health and help us function at our best. By prioritizing self-care, we invest in our ability to cope with stress, maintain healthy relationships, and improve our overall quality of life.
So stress is something that we all deal with, especially as life gets busy with work, school, family, and other responsibilities. Um, if stress builds up over time, it can, without being managed, it can lead to burnout, which is more than just that feeling of being tired. Burnout can leave you feeling emotionally drained, overwhelmed, and less motivated to do things you enjoy. Some of the biggest sources of stress, as I mentioned, include academics, work, financial concerns, family responsibilities, changes in our health, and major life transitions. While we can't always control these situations, we can control how we take care of ourselves through them. One of the best ways to manage stress is by focusing on self-care in three different areas. So physically, that might mean getting enough sleep, staying active, eating balanced meals, and keeping up with routine healthcare appointments. Um, Emotionally, that could be things like journaling, practicing mindfulness, or simply talking to someone you trust. Um, it can make a big difference. Socially, spending time with friends and family, participating in community activities, and setting healthy boundaries can help you feel more supported and connected. When creating a self-care plan, it's important to keep it realistic. As we mentioned earlier, starting with one or two small habits that you can stick with instead of trying to change everything all at once uh, seems to be more effective. Scheduling those habits into your routine, and as they become part of your daily life, you can gradually build on them. Remember that your plan isn't meant to be perfect. It's okay to adjust it if your schedule uh, requires or you have other obligations. But the goal is to create healthy habits that are sustainable and help prevent burnout over the long term. So now that we've talked a little bit about self-care, um, the next step is creating a routine that works for you. So the first step is to identify personal needs. Um, by taking a moment to reflect on where you are right now. Maybe ask yourself, what areas of my life feel the most stressful currently? Or what do I need more of to feel my best? Um, Everyone's needs are different, so your self-care routine should be personalized. So next, choose one or two habits that are realistic and achievable. As I mentioned, think physically, emotionally, or socially. How maybe like taking a short walk a few times a week, journaling before bed, or making time to connect with friends or family. As I mentioned, start small. Many people try to like jump into this new lifestyle, and it often is not successful. Um, Life changes, schedules get busy, and some weeks are harder than others. So it's completely okay to adjust that routine through trial and error until you find what works best for you. And I wanted to give an example of like a self-care routine. So, for example, say your goal is to improve your mental well-being through movement. That may start by walking 20 minutes three times a week. And then once this feels like it's part of your routine, you can increase either the length or the number of walks a week. Um, During like especially busy weeks or stressful times, instead of skipping walks completely, you could potentially shorten the walk or reduce how often you go. Ultimately, just being as flexible as you can helps make self-care something you can maintain long term rather than something that feels like another obligation.
Next, let's explore the connection between physical activity, self-care, and mental health. Physical activity is often thought of as something we do to improve our physical health, but it also has an impact on our emotional and psychological well-being. Exercise can be considered an important form of self-care because it supports both the mind and body. Research has shown that regular physical activity can help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. Exercise stimulates the release of chemicals in the brain, such as endorphins, serotonin, and dopamine, which help decrease pain perception, improve mood, and promote feelings of happiness and relaxation. Being physically active can also improve sleep quality, which is especially important because poor sleep is closely linked to increased stress, anxiety, and depression. When we sleep better, we're often better equipped to manage daily challenges and regulate our emotions. Exercise has also been shown to provide benefits for individuals living with serious mental illnesses. For example, studies have found that yoga can have positive effects for people with schizophrenia by helping reduce symptoms and improve overall well-being. Additionally, physical activity can be a valuable tool for individuals recovering from substance use disorders. Exercise can serve as a healthy coping mechanism, helping reduce cravings, manage stress, and create positive routines that support recovery. The good news is that staying active doesn't have to mean spending hours at the gym or following an intense workout plan. Small amounts of movement throughout the day can make a meaningful difference. Some simple ways to stay active include taking short movement breaks to interrupt long periods of sitting, dancing to your favorite music, or choosing the stairs instead of the elevator whenever possible. Even everyday household activities can count as physical movement. Tasks such as vacuuming, mowing the lawn, gardening, or raking leaves can help keep us moving while accomplishing things around the home. For people who enjoy social support, finding a walking buddy, joining a group fitness class, or simply taking the dog for a walk can make exercise more enjoyable and easier to maintain. Ultimately, physical activity is more than just exercise. It's a form of self-care that supports mental wellness. Finding activities that you enjoy and can realistically incorporate into your routine can help improve mood, reduce stress, and contribute to overall better mental health. Let's dive into social media, mental health, and health boundaries. Many of us use social media and other screen time apps for a large portion of our day, more than some of us would like to admit, probably. From a study published by the CDC from US adolescents, this study found that teenagers who spent 4 or more hours per day on recreational screen activities were more likely to experience negative mental and physical health outcomes, including anxiety, depression, obesity, headaches, poor sleep, and lower physical activity levels. The findings highlight the importance of promoting healthy screen use habits and as part of efforts to improve adolescent health and well-being. Another important factor is what researchers call comparison culture. A study published in 2022 studied how social comparison helps explain the relationships between problematic social media use and depression. The researchers found that individuals who engaged in higher levels of problematic social media use were more likely to experience depressive symptoms. They also found that people who frequently compare themselves to others on social media reported higher levels of depression. Social comparison was identified as a significant mediator, meaning it partially explained why problematic social media use is associated with depressive symptoms. These findings suggest that it may not simply be the amount of time spent on social media that affects mental health, but rather how individuals interact with the content they see. The study highlights the importance of promoting healthy social media habits and helping individuals recognize and reduce unhealthy comparison behaviors to support mental well-being. To promote healthier social media habits, there are several boundaries we can set. These include limiting daily screen time, being intentional about when and why we use social media, muting or unfollowing accounts that negatively impact our mental health, creating tech-free spaces, being mindful about what we post and consume online, and avoiding scrolling immediately after waking up. By establishing these healthy boundaries, we can enjoy the benefits of social media while reducing its potential negative effects on our mental health. So how does sleep relate to self-care and impacts on mental health? Well, adequate sleep helps the brain process emotions, manage stress, and maintain emotional balance. Sleep and emotional health have a concurrent relationship, meaning each affects the other. Emotional stress, worry, and anxiety can make it more difficult to fall asleep, stay asleep, and achieve good quality rest. In addition, repetitive negative thoughts before bedtime can contribute to insomnia and other sleep disturbances. Sleep is also essential for emotional regulation. During REM sleep, the brain processes emotional experiences and memories, helping reduce emotional distress and improving our ability to cope with daily stressors. When we do not get enough sleep, emotional reactivity increases, making us more irritable, anxious, and prone to negative moods. Sleep deprivation can also make it harder to regulate emotions and has been linked to an increased risk of depression, anxiety disorders, and PTSD. The good news is that improving sleep quality can have significant mental health benefits. Healthy sleep habits can strengthen emotional resilience, improve overall mental health, enhance stress management, and contribute to a greater sense of well-being. Because of these benefits, prioritizing sleep should be considered a key component of any self-care routine.
Now I'm going to talk about practicing self-compassion, which is one of the most effective ways to improve our mental well-being. First, let's look at the difference between self-criticism and self-compassion. Many of us tend to be our own harshest critics. Self-criticism means being unkind to ourselves when we make mistakes. It often sounds like, I should have done this better, or I can't do anything right, or I always mess things up. When we repeatedly talk to ourselves this way, it can lower our confidence and increase stress and anxiety. On the other hand, self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a friend. Instead of judging ourselves for making a mistake, we acknowledge that mistakes are a normal part of being human. For example, rather than saying, I'm a failure, we could say, I made a mistake and that's okay. I'll learn from this and do better next time. It's not about making excuses, it's about responding to ourselves in a healthier and more supportive way. Practicing self-compassion has several important mental health benefits. Research shows that it can increase emotional resilience, improve motivation and emotional regulation, strengthen coping skills, boost self-esteem, and reduce symptoms of anxiety. When we're compassionate with ourselves, we're often better able to recover from setbacks and face challenges with a more balanced mindset. So how can we practice self-compassion in our daily lives? One simple strategy is journaling, writing down our thoughts and then rewording negative self-talk into more encouraging and realistic statements can help change the way we think about ourselves. Another strategy is practicing positive self-talk and becoming more mindful of our thoughts. When we notice ourselves being overly critical, we can pause and ask, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, it's a good reminder to speak to ourselves with more kindness. Finally, meditation, especially mindfulness or loving kindness meditation, can help us become more aware of our thoughts without judging them, making it easier to develop self-compassion over time. Remember, self-compassion isn't about being perfect or avoiding responsibility. It's about recognizing that everyone makes mistakes and choosing to respond with understanding instead of harsh self-judgment. By practicing self-compassion consistently, we can build better emotional health and improve our overall well-being.
Now that we've discussed the importance of self-care, we want to highlight practical strategies that help manage anxiety. While these approaches can be beneficial for many people, it's important to remember that everyone's experience with anxiety is different. Some strategies may work better than others, and it's okay to find what works best for you. The first step is recognizing the symptoms of anxiety. Anxiety doesn't feel the same from person to person. Some people may experience persistent worry or racing thoughts that make it difficult to focus on daily tasks. Others may notice difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep or appetite, irritability, restlessness, or physical symptoms like racing heart or shortness of breath. Recognizing these signs early can help us respond before anxiety becomes more overwhelming and interfere with daily lives. Once we recognize these symptoms, we can use different relaxation techniques to help calm the body's stress response. Deep breathing exercises such as box breathing, which involves inhaling, holding, exhaling, and holding again for equal counts, for example, each step 5 seconds. This can help slow our heart rate and promote relaxation. Progressive muscle relaxation also involves intentionally tensing and then relaxing different muscle groups one at a time, which helps release physical tension that often builds up during periods of stress. Another helpful strategy is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. This mindfulness exercise encourages us to identify 5 things we can see, 4 things we can touch, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing we can taste. Grounding techniques like this can be especially helpful during moments of heightened anxiety because they bring our attention back to the present. Guided imagery and meditation can also help quiet racing thoughts by focusing the mind on calming scenes or even breathing exercises. For some people, gentle movement such as stretching, yoga, or even a short walk can reduce muscle tension and improve mood without requiring intense physical activity. Lifestyle habits also have a significant impact on anxiety management. Maintaining a consistent sleep schedule helps regulate mood, improve concentration, and restore the body's ability to cope with stress. Eating balanced meals and staying well hydrated support healthy brain function and stable energy levels throughout the day. Engaging in regular movement, whether it's walking, dancing, gardening, swimming, or other activities that's enjoyable and accessible for you, can naturally reduce stress hormones while increasing endorphins that improve mood. It's also helpful to be mindful of our caffeine and alcohol intake. Caffeine can increase feelings of nervousness or restlessness, and alcohol may temporarily seem calming, but it can actually worsen anxiety and disrupt sleep over time. Finally, building supportive relationships with friends, families, coworkers, support groups, or trusted professionals remind us that we don't have to manage our anxiety alone. Social connection is one of the strongest protective factors for our mental well-being. The most important takeaway is that managing anxiety isn't about eliminating stress completely. It's about developing healthy habits and coping skills that fit your own lifestyle, abilities, culture, and personal needs. Even small, consistent changes have meaningful impact on mental health over time.
All right, now we're going to talk about creating a personalized self-care toolkit. And there's 3 certain topics we're going to dive into. And the first is coping skills. Coping skills are the strategies we use to manage stress, regulate our emotions, and handle life's challenges. They help us reduce stress before it becomes overwhelming, helps us build resistance after setbacks, improve emotional regulation, and strengthen our relationships by helping us communicate and respond in healthier ways. One simple way to remember healthy coping habits is the acronym on the right that says ABC, please. The first part, ABC, focuses on emotional wellness. We have accumulated positives by making time each day for something you enjoy or planning something to look forward to. Building mastery by setting goals and developing skills that give you a sense of accomplishment. And C is cope ahead by preparing for situations that might cause stress or anxiety and creating a plan to manage them. The second part, please, focuses on taking care of your physical health. The PL stands for physical illness and making sure that you're taking care of yourself when you're sick. We have eating a balanced diet and staying hydrated, avoiding excess alcohol, drugs, and too much caffeine, prioritizing quality sleep, and exercise in ways that fits your abilities, even if it's just taking a daily walk. Finally, remembering that coping skills are personal. Some people also find meditation, prayer, or attending religious services to be meaningful ways to support their mental well-being. The goal is to build a self-care toolkit with strategies that best work for you and use them consistently to support both your physical and mental health. Our next aspect of our toolkit is support systems. So NAMI offers several free resources that provide support for individuals and their families. These include family support groups for loved ones, peer support groups led by trained individuals with lived experiences, and specialty support groups that focus on specific problems such as young adults, LGBTQIA+ individuals, survivors of trauma, and those recovering from substance use. NAMI also
offers educational programs like Family to Family, an 8-week course that helps family members better understand and support loved ones with mental illness while caring for their own well-being. Peer to Peer is another free 8-session course designed for adults living with mental illness challenges, providing education, practical coping tools, and opportunities to connect with others who share similar experiences. For those looking for more individual support, NAMI offers certified peer specialists and certified parent peer specialists, and they use their own life experiences and specialized training to guide and encourage others through recovery. NAMI Dane County has their 2 own peer specialists, and their pictures are at the bottom. Sharon is on the left and Alika's on the right. Research consistently shows that having a strong support system have a positive impact on mental health. Trusted friends, family members, peers, or community members can help us navigate everyday challenges, make difficult decisions, and provide support during times of crisis. Support systems also reduce feelings of loneliness and social isolation, which are closely linked to both physical and mental health problems. Remember, recovery isn't something you have to do alone. Reaching out for support is a sign of strength, and resources like NAMI are here to help every step of the way. The last aspect of our toolkit is crisis planning. A mental health crisis is a situation where someone can no longer safely manage on their own and needs additional support. A crisis can be triggered by external factors like the loss of a loved one or major life changes, or internal factors such as severe anxiety, depression, or hopelessness. Some warning signs that immediate action is needed include threats or attempts to harm oneself or others, any experiencing with withdrawals, not eating or sleeping for several days, or experiencing distress and symptoms. It's important to remember that experiencing a mental health crisis does not mean someone is weak or has failed. Every person's crisis looks different, and recovery is possible with the right support. If you or someone you know is experiencing a crisis, call 911 and request a crisis intervention team or a CIT trained officer. Call or text 988 is another option, or to contact the Dane County 24-hour crisis line for immediate support. And here we have more crisis planning, talking about different situations. So if you're supporting a friend or family member during a crisis, the first step is to reduce the intensity of the situation. Speak calmly, avoid judgment, and ask how you can help them feel safe. If they're willing to seek help, work together and create a plan by contacting their provider, calling a crisis line, or deciding where they'd like to receive care. If they're in immediate danger or unwilling to seek help, call 911 and request a mental health trained officer, like mentioned in the previous slide. If you are the one experiencing a crisis, do what's best for you. But here are 3 steps to help focus on the situation. First, prioritize your safety by moving to a safe space and removing anything that could cause harm. Next, ground yourself by taking slow breaths or using grounding techniques like the 5-4-3-2-1 method that we talked about previously in this presentation to help calm your mind and your body. And finally, reach out for support. Contact someone you trust, call or text the 988 crisis hotline, or seek emergency care if you do not feel safe. Remember, you never have to face a mental health crisis alone. Asking for help is a sign of strength, and support is always available. Here are all of our resources that we use throughout the presentation.
All right, we want to thank you to the Edgewood nurses, and thank you for just kind of reinforcing what self-care looks like. And that it also includes like how we talk to ourselves about self-compassion. Um, are there any questions or comments? Please feel free to put the questions in the chat or unmute yourself to ask questions. As you know, this session is being recorded. Everyone who registered will get the recording, get a link to the recording, and it will live on our YouTube page at NAMI Dane County 1. So our YouTube handle is NAMI Dane County 1. And someone did ask the question of can they get a copy of the slides?
Yeah,
Nurse
we should be able to send a copy or email a copy. We can
Marty?
email you a copy, Quinn, so that
Yes. You can email me the slides and I can send it out to everyone who registered for the session. We have another question. So how do you stop yourself in the middle of a spiral when you are developing a new self-care routine plan? So, what are some strategies that you all have maybe used or observed to stop yourself in the middle of spiraling when you're developing a new self-care routine?
I think the biggest resource would be on that slide. If you want to click back, if you can.
Yeah, I'll go back.
Just trying to do these relaxation techniques and grounding techniques just to kind of remind yourself of the present. If we're trying something new, I think, we're all human and we all have to take time to let ourselves adapt. Yeah, I can also go back over the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. I think that's a great one, especially if it's new. It just helps your brain kind of reset and bring us back to the present. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique, you identify 5 things around you can see, 4 things around you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. That just kind of helps our brain reset, focusing on the present and what's around you. So that can just help in those moments of like heightened anxiety and kind of just like a complete spiral. But any of those relaxation techniques should be really helpful during a spiral.
I think what we could also do is we worked with the Madison Senior Center this session as well, and we made mental health pamphlets, and it actually has the grounding technique in it as well. So we could send that to Quinn to have her send out to everyone too. It's a really useful pamphlet to have on hand at all times.
Yeah, that pamphlet's great too, because it also has the like recognizing symptoms that you might need extra support, and it has some affordable resources on the back of it as well.
That would be great, you all. Thank you. And would it be okay to share that on our website as well? The pamphlet that you created?
Someone have it that
We can talk about it.
You?
Um, we do have
I can tell you.
we do have another question. How do you motivate yourselves to be more active?
I think some ways to motivate yourself are starting with goals, because that way you can set something that's attainable, and it's important to remember to start small with goals. Kind of like how Lane had mentioned, whether that just be like walking for 20 minutes 3 times a week, or if you have a goal for something like reading, just starting small is really good, and then working yourself up slowly. And it's also helpful to have a buddy that can kind of hold you accountable. So, reaching out to someone within your support system saying, hey, we can meet for a walk tomorrow, just so, you have someone there to help support you as well. Those are just a couple ways to kind of stay motivated for things like movement and exercise or.
Yeah, I also want to add that you can find motivation in different aspects, and where if you try different activities, you might find something you like more than something else. Maybe you like biking more than you do walking. So just a nice, calm leisure bike ride might be more enticing than taking a walk. So trying different things to see what best fits into your schedule and what you prefer to be doing.
I was also going to add in there too, our first presentation was all about physical movement and the importance of exercise. So that could be a great first resource to look over, which Quinn will have the link to the YouTube channel most likely in the email that she sends out, and it'll be on there for you to view that too.
Yes, all of our past workshops live on our YouTube channel. So you all will also be able to access the physical movement workshop that they did a few weeks ago. We did have a comment about spiraling. So, one of your peers said the first thing is to recognize that you're spiraling, then you activate into. So then, recognize that you're spiraling, and then you can move into different strategies to help you navigate those moments. So thanks for adding to that conversation. We also have someone who said practicing Qigong. I might be mispronouncing that, but phonetically it sounds like Qigong. Is very helpful as a long-term strategy, and you can find resources for Qigong on YouTube with gifted teacher Ming Tong Gu and their free channel. So thank you all for sharing those. There's also the Chi Center, has a program called the qicenter.com that you can find more information about Qigong.
Is it okay if I say something about it?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. Um, yeah, I'm a local resident, and I've studied Tai Chi for many, many years, but I during the pandemic, actually before the pandemic, when my mom died and I was going through some really difficult times, I found the Chi Center online, and I actually went there to New Mexico to study with my teacher, who is this man, Ming Gu. And actually, this morning, I just had my online practice that I went to. So I've been in an online practice group for about 5 years now, and I'm really encouraging people to check out the YouTube page. If you put in Ming Tong's name, Ming Tong Gu, it just pops up, and you'll know if you resonate with it or not pretty quickly. He's a very gifted teacher, and the movement helps you center and calm and go deeply into the body and feel the energy in your body. Um, it's it's the most wonderful practice I've ever done. And I was a dance student at university, and I live in Madison, and I've taught dance in schools here. And, it's what I also do to enjoy my body and my life. And it helps me so much. So you can just put on music and do that. But to get really practical ways to open the body and find peace, I highly recommend this. It's called Wisdom Healing Qigong, his particular methodology, and it's a medical model. So I think the nursing staff would really benefit from checking it out and seeing how it works. And I don't want to be pushy about it. It's just, I know it's wonderful. And I do it every day online with the practice group. And because we're members of the group and we pay for the programming, several of us get online every day and we do a practice and share the videos through our practice. But you don't have to do that if you go to his YouTube page, because so much of his teaching is there for free. And it works on just physical and mental health with very particular strategies using movement, sound, and visualization. So thank you for letting me share that. And maybe some of you will check it out.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience. I mean, one of the best self-care strategies is just learning from each other and what we all do to kind of help take care of ourselves. So thank you again for sharing.
I guess one more thing I'd share is I was a teacher in the Madison schools for a very long time, and I created a program for children at my school at Hawthorne on the East Side. And I taught dance and drama in an integrated arts program, but I always opened each class for the entire school with something I call Tai Chi Animal Frolics. And I'd be happy to just give a copy of it's a DVD. So you need a DVD player to play it. I don't have it on YouTube myself, but I'd be happy to give it to your department and to NAMI because this very simple form takes about 2.5 minutes and it just helps children in particular calm down. Um, so I've been doing it for 33 years now. And I'm actually teaching it online once a week when I lead the qigong practice with my group. I've taught it to them, and they're all old people, but it's good for any age. It's simple and calming. And I guess the last thing is sort of plugging something that I just did, which was I hired a sculptor who just did the most amazing sculpture event on Lake Monona. It just ended this weekend. His name is Gene Delcourt, and he carved a tree that fell down in my backyard. And we called it, I said, will you make me a Tai Chi Animal Frolics tree? Because I want to give it to a place where it will have meaning and inspiration. And he did carve it, and I've given it to the city of Verona, to Art House 360, and it's going to be right in front of that building in the middle of July, I think. I didn't know I was going to say all this. You probably don't have any time left, but um, I will do some teaching there. There'll be an opening event, and I will do the Tai Chi Animal Frolics there. But I think just using a simple idea that's an embodied practice is so wonderful and helpful for people of any age. And yeah, if there's some way I can get my DVD to you or a couple of copies of it, I'm happy to just gift it. Um, and you can see what you think.
That is very generous of you, and we would love to accept that offering. And just email me after this, Jerry, and we can talk a little bit more.
Yeah. So do we have your email?
You do.
So oh, okay. So it's from the link that we got in on. Is that where it
Yes.
is?
Yes. There is
Okay.
mine.
Okay, wonderful. That's
Absolutely.
wow. I didn't know this would all unfold today. I had absolutely no idea what to expect.
No
So
problem.
that makes me happy. Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? You can put them in the chat, or if you would like to speak. And also, just a reminder, we are recording. So if you feel comfortable to speak, we do open the floor to you. All right. Again, we want to thank the Edgewood Summer Nurses for sharing their wisdoms with us this afternoon. Just a quick reminder, as I said, our programming at NAMI Dane County is free to the public and is generously sponsored by donations. We do have another virtual workshop coming up on Thursday, July 30th, and it is called Why am I? All right. So it is about trauma and how trauma impacts sleep and mental health. And it'll be led by psychiatrist Dr. Stephanie Jones. Will be leading us in a discussion about trauma, sleep, and mental health. So as I said, this session is recorded, and I will be sending out a link to the YouTube video once we upload it. But everyone, enjoy the rest of your day and your summer, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.